Well, hey everybody. Come on in and have a seat.
Why do you gotta make it so awkward,
I
Jake?
don't know. I don't know why I do that.
Because we don't know what we're doing yet with everything. Yeah, that's like me too. Welcome to our podcast, The Story Shack with Jake and Zack. I'm Zack.
I'm Jake.
And just settle on in, kick up your feet, warm up by the fire, and we'll I almost was gonna say reminisce. That's probably not a good word for reminisce about. No, we're covering Nightmare on Elm Street. Original, then and now, basically.
Okay, I like that.
Then and now. Yeah, we the original 1984 Nightmare on Elm Street, introducing a new actor to the screen, Johnny Depp, in that one, and
John Depp.
Yeah, John Depp, and the remake Nightmare on Elm Street, same title, in 2010 though. So you want to kick off again on the first bit of notes you got, or want me to go into something? Oh wait, no, never mind.
Yeah.
Thermometer. I can't talk. All right. So I looked at the Nightmare on Elm Street Rotten Tomato scores to get an idea. The critics, which are the thermometer for the 1984 version, was 94%.
Nice.
Believe it or not. Audience score was 84%, so high, still high. Good score. The 2010 remake, 15% on the thermometer from the critics. I don't know if it's that low, but maybe. I don't know. We'll dissect it a bit here. Yeah. The audience score was 43%, so almost the same as a Friday the 13th remake for the audience, but not quite that low.
Right.
On the critics. So this one's rated worse by them.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think on that? We'll deep dive. We'll do a little deep dive, but general thoughts on, does that seem accurate? Does that fit?
Well, okay.
It's pretty drastic. And 94 to 15%.
So, okay, I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that out of those two, you were a bigger fan of the original than the remake.
Yep.
I am the opposite.
Oh, there's some things that were good about but it does hold a special place in my heart because this was one of my favorite. If we go for the slashers, what other, not to name them all, but Jason and Freddie are the main slasher ones that were also kind of campy. But then you had horror stuff. Michael Myers, yeah, that one.
He's
which
not
was also
super
cool.
Campy though.
No, he isn't campy. Yeah, you get Freddie with the one-liners,
right?
Because he talks.
Right.
So just imagine if the other two talked. Do you think they'd have one-liners too? Probably. They're just a strong silent type. That's what it is. But that's why I like Freddie. So maybe it harkens back to growing up. I was more of a chubby kid. I was nerdy enough. I played sports though. Now I'm still nerdy, but I'm not. I was an introvert, and in my head it was always, well, I got to use my smarts.
Right.
You know, not about brawn. I never thought I was gonna be super tall, not super tall. So I always liked. That's why I like Spider-Man a lot. I'm not like. I mean, I like the Hulk for other reasons, but you know, just
the characters that don't rely fully on their strength.
Yeah, and so exactly. So I feel like with Freddie being kind of that, I'm gonna get in your head and your dreams,
psychological.
Literally. Yeah, that it interested me more. Yeah. I know it's campy, and there's stuff about that, like even in Evil Dead, that I like, right? So
yeah, I mean, it's a nostalgia factor for sure.
Yeah. So I'm really intrigued to hear what you think then on the remake. Ooh, how do we tackle this then?
Let's start with the old one first.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you lay on your side, and then I'll lay on my side.
All right. I also, was kind of light on notes, right? But my first one here is you get an intro to Freddie in the beginning. Mm-hmm. I put an intro to Freddie and the gang, as if it's some Scooby-Doo thing. Right. But yeah, Freddie doing his frightful thing in the dream of the one girl, right. Kind of setting the mood, setting the tone. She wakes up. you start learning that the other characters are also having similar dreams. It comes out slowly. So it's not just like, oh, this and that, and now we're into it. You know, that concept of how that would have worked when it came out too, or, you know, people understanding how it would work. It's evolved, and I have an overall understanding of how his whole thing works and operates in the grand scheme of things. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's also why, like, why I care for this one more. So just, I like the intro for the most part. The things about it that are maybe cringy is the girl screaming. The thing that you can kind of excuse away a lot of the stuff is because they're dreaming a lot. That's like, one, he's going to be more in charge in the dream because he's going to be able to do more things. Right. Because at first they don't realize that they're going to really die. And because, you know, when you're actually dreaming, you can kind of make stuff happen, but you don't realize that, which comes into play in later films, just to say. Okay. I feel like I'm rambling a bit here, so sorry. I'll try to bring it back. There's some of the, you know, you have sex, you get killed kind of thing too, right? As if they didn't already have sex before, probably. But, you know, we're seeing this happen, and then people getting killed. Oh, another cringy part was kind of oh man, I know is there a Steve, or is that the remake? Remake had a Steve. It was Johnny Depp's character. The other guy who Glenn. Yeah, Glenn.
There was I want to say his name was like Ryan or something. Rod?
That sounds right.
Yeah, there's a Rod.
The like kind of greaser looking guy.
Yeah.
Like somewhat, or like he just came out of the set for Grease. Anyway, a little bit. Yeah. There was some weird vibes with the stuff he was saying to the girl when they're walking to school. There's that. But then later you're like, oh wait, they're together. It was very awkward the way they did it, and then he's weird, and so I don't know if it's just once it happened, you're like, oh okay. So at first it seemed kind of like he would like force himself upon her, and I was like, I don't know about this. Right. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's a little much.
The acting and the plot are also kind of. I'm surprised the tomatoes, the Rotten Tomatoes score is so high though. Audience makes sense, maybe where it sits, but the critic one, I don't know. Maybe it's just a thing of it coming out at that time and it being kind of different.
Right. Well, I mean, if we look at it from a timeline perspective, Jason came out in 80.
Yeah.
And the slasher boom was kind of starting. Mm-hmm. And then they kind of really hit their stride with Nightmare on Elm Street coming out in 84. And then you've got to think it's also Wes Craven, who did, Last House on the Left, Hills Have Eyes, stuff. And was kind of coming off of that stuff before then getting to, Freddie.
Did you ever see, this is going to be a tangent, could cut this out. Is it called Wishmaster? I think that was Wes Craven.
I think it is called Wishmaster, but I've never seen it.
He's like an evil genie. There's like 3 of them. That one's kind of creepy. And similar in that I think he has some like dumb one-liners.
Right.
I probably should have written that down. There's some notes I didn't make that now I'm thinking of for this movie. But I put the acting was all right. It seemed like they were just pretty fresh actors.
This is where I'm going to have to disagree with you.
Really?
Johnny Depp does fine.
No, I'm saying that they're not that good.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you're? Yeah. Okay. Johnny Depp does do fine. I mean, fresh as in like they're brand new and kind of trying to get their feet wet.
Very melodramatic.
Yeah.
Very over the top.
And even the adult ones are a little like, okay. The thing I will say about that is the whole time, because I know that the parents know when I'm watching it from the beginning, it seems more obvious of that, they're acting like that because they're trying to they have ulterior motives and they're downplaying it. So So I can kind of forgive it for that, but I kind of doubt it that's what they're going for.
It feels a lot like them really just brushing it off and like not taking their kids seriously and not giving a damn, and you know.
You do the you don't believe the kid when they're like younger than 12 or 10, but when they're teenagers it's kind of like, well, do you think it's just for attention? But then that's where it's like, because there's other reasons, it's can be confusing at first for the audience.
Right.
Which kind of I think can go with it. Again, you can kind of blame a lot of stuff on the fact that they're dreaming.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
They are dreaming. I mean, some of the effects were okay. Oh, actually there's 2 instances where the effects where I was like, this is fucked up, this is dope. When the first girl is getting killed, and she's like tumbling all around the room, I was kind of like, how in the
almost
fuck?
Like Exorcist.
Yeah, like, wow. And then just blood spraying everywhere. And then the whole Johnny Depp thing where blood pools out of the bed. I think that was him that gets killed that way.
Yeah,
but
he gets sucked into the bed. I forgot if it was her or him, and I liked her getting. It's something. I liked her getting tossed around. Yeah. But from an effects standpoint, because in the way she got tossed, obviously some of it's got to be wire, but they might have done a similar thing. I can't remember on that one. So I know for the Johnny Depp one that's in reverse. Mm-hmm. So what they did is the room is upside down. Yeah. And they poured blood through.
Gotcha.
I think. Or wait, but then it splashes. Wait, reverse? Yeah. Is that right then?
I think it's spinning. It's spinning and they do it reverse. They used that same room and then redecorated it, but it was like a spinning set.
There's something like that, and you can see it in one part, because I knew I'm watching it, where there's a streak of blood because it's going like this way. Like, you know, you see most of it, but you see some from up higher or closer to the exit point, where it just kind of goes sideways this way, so you can kind of tell. Right. So I'm like motioning to you because you can see me, what people listening can't see. I'm like, it veers at an angle that you're like, that's kind of weird, but again, since it's a small streak, no one's going to really notice, but I did because I'm smart.
Those 2 things really I was impressed by. Mm-hmm. Honestly, anything in horror, that the term that I always come to that creeps me out the most, or I find the most appealing, both visually and kind of any kind of horror thing, is the word unnatural. Mm-hmm. Where you know how it's supposed to be, and anytime it's not that, and it's just slightly different, that's the scariest, creepiest part for me. Yeah, they do the body horror stuff. Yeah, I think that's one term. Where there's just a slash that appears. Or even just the stuff with when he chops off his own fingers. Right. And they give him the green kind of like blood, basically, which is weird. He cuts his chest open, like he does his own stuff to him. Yeah. To kind of creep them out. Boils all pop and. Yeah. Which some of it, he takes off his like face or whatever. That was creepy. There's stuff with that kind of feels like, oh, maybe they're just kind of testing what they can do and what's weird. But I do know, I don't know if this was intended from the beginning, that Freddy's power, and this is very apparent in Freddy versus Jason, where his power comes from their fear. Right. So as soon as you turn around and ignore him. Yeah, that's right. So at the end they kind of do that, right? So it's more it's more apparent in other ones too, I think. Yeah. Basically, I think kind of explains away we're going to show you little scary stuff before you get killed, but now the lore, I guess, behind it is he has to get you scared before he can actually physically harm you and then kill you. Right. And it just like feeds him. So it feeds his power or whatever. Right. I think you would like Freddy versus Jason. I keep bringing it up because I need to check it out. Because he uses the fact that Jason is now out again as a way to instill that fear in the town. So the town knows
about Freddie, but Jason's there now, kills people in their beds, like, because, they have sex or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then they think, because there's no one else there, that it must be Freddie. And they're trying to, like, cover it up, like the adults again. Right. And then the kids are finding out. So now I'm going into the whole, but it's really cool the way they do it. And then all that comes up, and then there's,
I'll throw it on the list.
It's fun. It's fun. I don't know if it's, like, a great movie, but because the way they do it. Yeah. Okay. That tangent over, the body horror stuff, cutting. So they're slowly being scared shitless and then get killed. And so it just ramps up. There are some points where it's like, okay, if he really wanted to, he could just kill them. Right. But I guess it's the whole, I'm kind of toying with you, the psychological thing. I'm curious then. So since you like the remake better, mm-hmm. if you rated them on like a 1 through 10, what would it be like a 7 and a 6 or like a 9, 8 or like or 9 and a 6?
It would be like a 5 and an 8.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, that's okay.
Just between those two movies. Mm-hmm. So the first one, it was just a big camp factor for me. Mm-hmm. Like, I understand that, they're using like xylophones and synth music for like the dream type things, but it was just kind of really overdone. Freddie bothered me a little bit just because of the one-liners. Like, it was just kind of one of those, well, if this guy was really monstrous, would he sit there and quip really quick before he did it kind of thing?
Yeah.
And like, I get that that's the character, and I can appreciate that, but watching it this time just kind of took me out of it a little bit. The one like really long arm thing was weird, and like I just didn't like that. You
didn't like it because it's creepy?
No, I didn't like it
because dumb.
Yeah, it was just poorly done.
Yeah.
But I mean, 1984, I get it. The main girl actor with her tears and stuff, I wasn't a super big fan of her. Johnny Depp and his crop top.
Those sweatpants.
And the sweatpants. And then my favorite...
The dumb Johnny Depp face that never ages.
Yeah. My favorite effect, though, was at the very end when the mom gets taken in like an inflatable doll.
Yeah, I know.
And her legs don't even move.
Yeah, that part always bothers me. I will say that every time I watch that, I'm like, I don't know. And I thought there was a thing, and I tried to go back, but then I noticed, like, even halfway through, I thought that little window wasn't there earlier. I thought that was a thing. You could probably find that. I feel like it wasn't there, or maybe it was the door only had that in the movie specifically so that for continuity, where at the end it would make sense, right. Or there was continuity that was out of whack. I don't remember. Yeah. It's weird.
But I can definitely see like 1984, this being terrifying, like a guy who attacks you in your dreams. I don't want to go to sleep tonight kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So my main issue with the story was really the kind of the parents part of it, where it all becomes like another left field kind of twist, where I didn't really feel like they built to it or anything. There wasn't any like foreshadowing or hints or anything. It was just kind of, we've got this really good villain that's attacking them in their dreams, but how do we explain what's really going on? Maybe he attacked the kids and the parents set him on fire. And it just kind of feels thrown together to me at the end. And I just didn't believe it as much as I did for the remake. I feel like the remake did a lot better job of building that history that Freddie has between him and the parents. And it just kind of felt kind of thrown in there at the end.
Yeah, there's some things that I want to criticize about that. What come to mind is that, yes, they do a better job of having that, right? So they slowly get in there. kind of, I'm trying to remember the other one, just where, but it happens in the dreams, right? Where, oh, there's the daycare or preschool.
Right.
Then there's the part, the spot where he gets burned, you know, it's happening in their dreams. But then so it's good as a way to get that out. But the thing that I take issue with is it could be good or bad because that's either Freddie putting that in their heads to get that, you know, like that's the setting, or is it them in their own minds getting that setting? Because how would they know they would know about the daycare or preschool? Because that's the thing that could be good about it is, oh, it's like an old memory that they don't have or recall.
Right. That they
so
repressed.
They're there. Yeah. But then the one where he gets killed, they weren't there for that. So why would he be dreaming about that unless Freddy's putting them there to get the information out there, which means he's trying to tell them, hey, I was a child molester. Why would he do that? So that I'm just saying, like, it's just like, it's kind of dumb, but as far as for the audience's sake, it works. And like as a story device, I guess. But to get, so that's what I'm torn because there's some good things about them doing it that way. And some things I'm just like, that's seems kind of dumb to me.
Right.
So I will say on the remake, I like his little finger thing he does.
Oh yeah.
Creepy.
That was,
that's a nice touch. It's a nice touch. And I think that was the actor's choice.
Yeah.
I've really a long time. I could be wrong about that, but so that's nice. I don't like the makeup on him as much because the
makeup.
Here's the thing, the CG part on his face, it's almost like it's actually not as bad. And it was around the same time. The Two-Face from Dark Knight. It's like kind of, it's there. It's kind of, but it's right. It just doesn't look that great to me.
Yeah.
And then I get maybe it's because in the flashback, I guess you could call it, he gets blown up in there and then runs out. But he's like kind of missing his nose, which also seems believable. It just looks weird. And then his I don't know. Maybe that's more realistic.
Yeah.
But it seems very. I don't know.
I think
that's what
so.
I don't know too many times.
Where I think the limitations of CGI and effects really hindered the 1984 version, and this new one, they really embraced the realism of it. And like, he's kind of hard to look at. He's, essentially a big burn victim. And yeah, I really dug his, nightmarish kind of look. Not saying that all, burn victims are nightmarish or whatever, but they kept a sense of realism with it that I really appreciated. I
can appreciate it. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
As much.
Why? Because it's so scary.
No, it takes me out of it. That's the problem for me. I don't know.
Another thing that I liked that the remake did, where in the original she takes his hat to like, oh, this is how I can get him into my world kind of thing. In the remake, she just grabs a part of his sweater, which felt a little more believable in that aspect.
Yeah, I have a lot of notes on that. So they did a lot of the same thing. That's the other thing, is they almost copied and pasted stuff, right? So I liked that in a way, but I couldn't tell if it was lazy or not. I liked it though. I liked it because I like the original, so it worked more for. I don't know. 15% for the critics seems kind of low. Yeah, to me though, I will say the audience, I could agree with that, like a 40 something maybe.
Yeah.
So I wrote down, I don't know if I got all of them, but the prison death. So it was a strangulation, but then this guy gets like actually the bathtub where he's in there, right. So that's there. The death in a bed. It's just, wait, how did they do? No, it was like a bunch of blood too, right? In the remake?
Don't remember.
Crap, I don't remember. I just wrote death. Oh no, maybe it was the girl. The girl got, because then he freaked out. Yeah. That's what it was. Okay. It was the girl. So I should have written that down. Right. So the girl's death in the bed. The body bag in the hallway was the exact same. with the legs being up and drawn out. And
right.
So that was cool because that was one of the creepier things, I think. And since it was in both, that was cool.
Yeah.
And then the mom getting killed at the end, but pulled through the... So that's the thing that I think they did better was doing it through the glass.
Yeah.
So now that we're kind of at the ending with that, can we talk about that? We can go back to some other stuff, but the differences between the endings. Yeah. So the first one, the original, it looked dumb coming through, but he wait, what did he do? The mom sank into the bed, or is that the remake? I don't remember.
That's the remake.
That's the remake. But the mom did get...
No, okay.
No, that was in the... Because it looked too cheesy.
In the first one, she gets pulled through the thing. In the second one, or in the remake, they come inside, and he, like, puts his hand through her face and drags her through the mirror. Yeah.
Which looked cool coming back in. That was really cool how they did that. So I like that. That was better than getting pulled through the door. And there's just a blood splatter on the... Yeah. But and I know they didn't do this in the remake because it just really didn't make too much sense. So it's Nancy for both movies, so that's cool too. Mm-hmm.
This felt like more of a remake than a reimagining.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So the original Nancy goes in because her mom or whatever, and then her mom gets like killed or whatever, and sinks into the bed, which is weird.
Right.
But then she's alive next. But, obviously she's like, oh, I want my friends back and this and that. And then she just wishes him away, essentially, just by being like, you don't have any power over me. Which, again, kind of plays into how it should work. But then it just throws it off because then she is obviously still dreaming.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's what I want to know is how much of that movie was a dream. Because maybe more of it was a dream, which I think gives it more nuance in a way.
Yeah.
Is how there might have been more parts that were just, which is also why I like it, because the series overall, because it has you questioning the whole time whether or not you're still dreaming, because they'll have you come out and do the double scare. Where, which, the remake had that too, when she goes and lays back down and then he's there in the bed with the one girl. I don't think that one was Nancy. I think it was the other girl.
Right.
It's creepy.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the differences in the endings?
Both are fairly ambiguous as to how it's kind of going. But now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of like... I like the old one a little bit more now, thinking about the ending. Just because... It's ambiguous, and it's, how much of that was a dream kind of thing. And, like, they talk about in the remake how, like, you'll sleep forever kind of thing. And, like, is that what happened to her? Like, is she just gone to the point where she's just in a coma now, and now she's stuck? Yeah. And that's kind of the same with Nancy in the original. Like,
yeah. That's a good point, too, because... he does the thing through the mirror, then obviously she's still dreaming for that part.
Right.
Because he can't.
Well,
as far as we know, he can't do that in real life.
That's true.
He can kill. That's the thing. So,
despite him coming back to the real world.
She might not. That means the mom might not actually be dead, but she got scared, and it means he's still there. He's still.
He's still.
So
around.
it's still creepy. Yeah. So it's also ambiguous in its own way.
Yeah.
Similar, but its own way, I think.
Yeah. I'm assuming that you're more of a fan of the original Freddy than you are the remake Freddy.
Yeah.
Just in terms of looks and personality and...
Yeah. I like that. I like the remake enough. And I don't know if that makes sense in that it's different. He's creepy. They lean more into the fact that he's a child molester, though.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if
where he was more of like so I have some IMDb trivia about that.
Yeah, I looked it up too. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So in the original, there was a series of like child rapes in the San Diego area or whatever when they were working on this. So they switched it to be more of him attacking kids and killing them and leaned away from the kind of child molester part of it.
Yeah. I always had the feeling that it was it had those vibes, but wasn't explicit. So that's the thing, is I kind of like that better.
Yeah.
Whereas they went all out, you know, it's kind of another twist in there of the, well, how do you know he actually did it? And that was the, oh shit. Cause then the parents were like, well, you're right. Like the kids are technically right, but that's what we had to do. What we had to do.
Right.
And it's so that it has you like doubting.
Yeah.
But,
it kind of gives you some sympathy for him for a minute.
He was. There's pictures.
You know, he's just getting his revenge. And then, oh yeah, there's pictures. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. Fuck that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. There's that too. Never mind.
Yeah.
That would have been interesting if they just kept him as he didn't do anything.
And he was just getting his revenge on the parents by taking
that's
their kids.
Creepy. Yeah.
No, yeah, I like that.
I feel like he had another point.
When they remake it in 10 years,
yeah.
I really liked the new Freddie. I thought he did a great job. I loved the little finger click thing that he did with the blades. He wasn't over the top with his one-liners. He didn't really...
Because he still had them, but it wasn't over the top.
But they were a little more menacing.
He said the same thing of the, I'm your boyfriend now. He said that.
Yeah. And just his voice was a little more like, ugh.
Yeah.
I just really enjoyed his performance, and that actor is just great. The little bit of IMDb trivia, it's kind of a rumor, so I'm not sure that it's fully true. Speculation, but I'll say it. Jason Earl Hardley, or whatever his name was.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Went with Johnny Depp to the audition for the original Nightmare. And they both auditioned, and Jack Earl Hartley was told that he wasn't attractive enough. So he lost out on the role of Glenn, and his friend Johnny Depp got it. And then here we are decades later, and he gets cast as Freddie.
That's interesting. I think he did a good job for what it was. And like you said, as an updated version, it's still creepy.
Yeah.
It's less campy.
Yeah.
So I could see if you really were bothered by it being campy, why you might like the remake better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a nostalgia thing then.
Yeah.
For me, because I like the weird, goofy things.
Yeah.
Because they're still kind of creepy. It's like an again, I've said it, Evil Dead, but like Evil Dead has some of that.
Yeah.
And it has some that's like really creepy.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I didn't really hate either of them. I just, I preferred the remake a little bit more because it gave me the backstory that I wanted. Like, it gave me like, it didn't do it perfectly. Like, it was definitely like, oh, I can't close this drawer. What's this envelope full of pictures? Like, why the fuck would she still have those pictures? Burn those pictures. You're trying to repress this memory, but you're keeping all this evidence around.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, there's some stuff in there.
There's some flaws there, but I like how they tried to weave a little bit more of that backstory into it to make it seem more appealing, where the original, I felt like they just kind of threw it in at the end and there wasn't any kind of lead up to it or foreshadowing or anything. It was just like, we got to explain this somehow. What do we got? And he killed the kids. Burn him. And then I think about Groundskeeper Willie.
Yeah. Wait, yeah. Yeah, that's what I think of with because that guy was the gardener in the remake. Yeah. Or Freddie was. Yeah. So, yeah, it's all. Yeah, talking to you about this has leaned me a little bit more towards liking the remake more. I don't think I like the original any less necessarily, though.
That's kind of how I feel about you and the original. I don't like the remake any less, but I have a little bit more respect for the original because it is a classic and there are the campy factors to it, but I mean, it's still an enjoyable movie. Yeah.
I think I'm not being objective enough with the fact that I know some of the stuff with the rest of the series or franchise.
Right.
It kind of informs some of the stuff that I think about it overall. So I'm like trying to think on its own compared to, it'd be pretty close then, I could say.
Yeah.
to being, like, wouldn't give them a 5, but like if I gave them 5s, maybe I'd give them both 5s.
Right.
Without that extra info. But with that info, I would bump it up a couple more.
Right.
Similar. Oh, the wall scare too. That was the top note that led to that was similar. So that's the thing, is the CGI on that looked really bad to me. I don't know why it was that bad. It looked as so I like the movie with Michael J. Fox, The Frighteners, and it has some of that kind of look to
creepy movement. Through walls,
through like the wall. Well, because there's like a Grim Reaper character type of thing, and the like robes on it kind of look like that. Maybe a little bit more noticeable, but that was I think that was like 99. So that's the thing, is it was earlier and it almost looked like it was better than that specific thing.
Right.
So the other similar thing, and going back to this, was so when Nancy's going up the stairs in the original one, her feet go through that one part, like sinks in, and then that happens in the remake, but then it's a hallway of blood. So that was like creepier, and because it's blood, but it's similar too. There's just all those. I don't know if that's too many things. That's the thing. That's what I mean. Like a few to kind of call back, but that's I got at least I think 7 things right there that harken back as almost homages. But if it's a remake, you're probably gonna put some of that in there. So
right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm probably being too critical. I'm just being an a-hole.
No, you're not.
They're both really great. Give them a 10 out of 10.
Go watch them all.
Boom.
Go watch them all right now.
Watch everything. Did you have any other specific notes?
No, not really.
We almost talked as long as the other one.
I know.
So,
perfect. I think that I want us to do a Freddy versus Jason episode, though. Just to kind of.
It's kind of good we switched to those two now that we're talking about it. I have one more thing.
Yeah.
We already kind of talked about the makeup and prosthetics. I got 2 notes, but I don't know if there's any more to say about that. We already talked about it. So the last note thing that I had, the last note I had was about the 2 characters in the remake. I didn't care. I was invested in the fact that they then kissed or something. That seemed a little forced. I don't want to say completely, but it's like, come on, like everyone, your other friends died, and this. I don't know if there was a thing before. They kind of talk in the diner, I guess, earlier in the beginning, but it did seem like maybe she's not interested. I could have done without it. That's all I really want to say. There was no real chemistry between them.
Yeah. I felt more of the couple aspect from the original. Like those were people that were hanging out that were actually dating, despite the fact that the one guy looks like he's 35.
Yeah, there's that too.
But they definitely tried to kind of pull something in there to like, hey, let's pull the couple card.
Oh, I will say for the original, because I'm getting better at thinking through logic and stuff, at least with movies, because I'm pretty suspension of disbelief. Like I'll buy into stuff, right? But then I may critique physics and stuff occasionally. Right. So this specific thing was when Nancy goes and walks to school, and then I think you said Rod, if that's correct, that guy was on the run now because it looks like he killed his girlfriend.
Right.
Grabs her. Totally fine with that. Then that happening in the movie, I don't think that's right. You don't just grab people. Right. But then the cops come out of the woodworks.
Yeah.
And she's like, Daddy, you used me. And he's like, you weren't supposed to leave. You weren't supposed to leave. And she's so set on the fact that he used her to get him when her mom was even trying to get her to stay. But then I was like, okay, we'll come right back. And the dad doesn't know that. Right. And it sounds like he thought she was supposed to stay home. So they're just out looking for him anyway. Yeah. He didn't use her.
Just happened to find him. Yeah.
Teenage angst or something. I guess you could chalk it up to. I was like, that's a little bit of a stretch. So.
Right.
if I'm going to be critical, I'll be critical on both here.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed these two horror movies. They were fun. I enjoyed them than some of the other movies we've watched, and I kind of want to dig deeper into both of those series, both Freddie and Jason, because I haven't seen a lot of them, and if I have, it's been decades. So I'm kind of curious to see if any of them will actually scare me, or if it's all just going to be like campy nostalgia stuff for me.
Yeah, some of them get like I think the second one's creepy for Nightmare. The third one I think is the Dream Warriors one. So there's like a group of them, of kids, or maybe a little older. The second one was a guy that, for some reason, can't remember right now, Freddie is using. He's basically trying to use him as a vessel to come out into the world.
Oh gosh.
So I don't want to. If you do watch them, I don't know if I want to go into it. But there's like a really gross part that always stuck with me because of the fact he's trying to actually do that. So then the stuff with Freddie. Ooh, I'll pose the question. I didn't write here, but the thing, superhuman, maybe supernatural, or like a demon.
I'm gonna go demon, just because he's got the fire element behind it. I feel like that's kind of symbolic of hell, despite the fact that he, got burnt and all that stuff. I feel like it's I'm gonna say demon because he's also attacking you in like a dream world type thing. See, feels very paranormal.
Yeah,
but I guess supernatural.
So it's supernatural. Paranormal.
Supernatural. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would think demon too in a way. So this goes again into what some of my understanding of the lore and other movies is. He, at least in one of them, he makes up. So I think this might be the fifth one. It's the New Nightmare, something. Which was Wes Craven doing it again, like in the early 90s. Or no, because 84, maybe later. Yeah.
I think it's 94.
And then I think the third or fourth one might not have been by him. I think he only did the first and second. I could be wrong about that. But it's still like, he was probably still producing at least. I can't recall. I know you're doing the searching on it. So, but anyways, with that, he makes some sort of pact or deal with, it's not necessarily the devil, but I think there's like demons that allows him to go like and do this. And I don't know if it's only isolated for that movie, but I took it as, well, maybe that's kind of how he's been doing it at other times too. He died, he was evil, but he's able. So that's where I do feel like he is more of a demon.
Right.
Because of that. But again, that's not really in the first few movies. But
I kind of want to check out this new Nightmare movie now.
Yeah, it looks a little weird. Yeah, it was pretty good. That was one that I watched after I'd seen most of the other ones.
It seems very meta.
Yes, it is too. There is I forget what part. Maybe it's towards the end. There's like this thing with, I think it might be kind of similar where I think the main girl has a baby. I feel like I remember the baby or a kid. And I don't remember the specifics. I just can picture stuff like that. And now that
all of these are on HBO Max.
Nice, yeah. I might just binge through those.
Yeah. Oh, the one thing that I forgot to mention when talking about the original, Lin Shaye is in it, who has become kind of a scream queen. She's in the Insidious movies.
Oh, yeah, she's a teacher.
Movies.
That's her?
Yeah, she was the teacher.
Yeah, I saw that.
She was in Kingpin. She does a lot of stuff with the Farrelly brothers.
Yeah, I remember when I was looking her up for the Insidious movies that I saw she was in that. I was like, what? And I think I found a picture and I completely forgot it until as soon as I saw her, I was like, that's right. She's in this.
Right.
She's like, get back to work.
And the last little bit of trivia, I gotta imagine father. Oh, her older brother is Robert Shea, who is the producer of the movie.
Oh, okay. So that's she probably had a little in for that small part. But I'm sure her work is pretty extensive.
Oh yeah, she's
yeah, she was probably in stuff before that, but
yeah. But that's all I've got for Freddie. 1, 2, Freddie's coming for you.
That was always creepy to me. I like that.
It's still creepy. Any children's rhymes are creepy.
Yeah. It's a nice touch. It's good.
That's all I've got here at the shack.
So we'll wrap it up at the shack for today. Hopefully nothing attacks us in our dreams tonight.
Oh, I hope not.
Otherwise,
I'm gonna have hated this podcast because it will have murdered me.
Who's paying for the electricity in this cabin?
I thought you were.
Are you paying bills?
I'm not paying bills.
A mortgage on this place, or what is it?
We broke into this cabin.
We're
waiting until somebody comes and kicks us out.
Oh, so we're just squatters.
Or if they like movies and stories, they can pop a squat and
that's true.
Just hang out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm digging it. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody.